big focus, of course, is on the cabinet meeting that is underway at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, and we've picked up the first visuals of the cabinet meeting. You can see a round table meeting of sorts taking place, and all the big names, the big faces can clearly be spotted. While yesterday was all about the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan, the venue where the Prime Minister was sworn in alongside 72 other Council of Ministers, today is all about 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, the Prime Minister's official residence, where the NDA government is holding its first cabinet meeting. Today is all about which of these 72 will be handed the responsibility of the key ministries. This, remember, is crucial in deciding the direction in which Modi 3.0 moves forward, and also key in understanding the approach of this coalition government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But the tone is set, and it's indicative in the manner in which we saw the Prime Minister start his day earlier this morning at South Block. Remember, even before the swearing-in ceremony commenced yesterday, the Prime Minister narrated his expectations to the union ministers to execute the government's key agenda for the first 100 days. We're learning that presentation on part of the union ministers to execute the same will begin next week onwards, and it's very clear that the new coalition government is going to be expected to recalibrate Prime Minister Modi's existing plans for his third term. The question is, are there any odds stacked up against this government, or will the Prime Minister be able to turn a coalition to his advantage given the plans he has for the government in his third tenure? We'll take this up with our experts joining us and also tell you all about the big names and ministries expected shortly. But before that, let's quickly start with how the Prime Minister swung into action today on day one, hours after the oath-taking ceremony yesterday. Let's talk about the big announcement that came in from the NDA government, showcasing government's full commitment towards Kisan welfare. The Prime Minister signed a crucial file today. What the signing of the file meant was the release of 17th installment of Kisan Nidhi Yojana. Remember, the scheme was launched in 2019 first, a little ahead of the previous Lok Sabha elections. And with the release of the 17th installment of Kisan Nidhi Yojana, 9.3 crore farmers are set to benefit from it. So the number of beneficiaries on your screen is very clear, 9.3 crores. An amount of 20,000 crores will be distributed among 9.3 crore farmers. How is this distributed? An amount of 6,000 rupees is transferred annually in 3 equal installments of 2,000 directly into the Aadhaar seeded bank accounts of the farmers. So a total of 20,000 crore rupees. With this big move, what the Prime Minister has essentially done is he sent a message of Kisan Kalyan and farmers' welfare and labelled it as the NDA's top priority. So that's the first big step taken by Prime Minister on day one at South Block. Those were the visuals that we spotted. Now, let's also take a look at the big highlights of Prime Minister's first address to the PMO officials today after his oath ceremony yesterday. Here's the message he sent out and the vision he has in place for the PMO.
पीएमओ एक शक्ति का केंद्र है, एक बहुत बड़ा पावर सेंटर है। पीएमओ शक्ति केंद्र बने, ये न मेरी इच्छा है न मेरा वो रास्ता। हमने इसको एक कैटलिक एजेंट के रूप में ही डेवलप करने की कोशिश की है। वो कैटलिक एजेंट के यहाँ से ऊर्जा प्रसारित होती रहे, यहाँ से नई नई चेतना प्रसारित होती रहे, जो पूरे तंत्र के अंदर एक प्रकार से विद्युत की तरह नई चमक दे, नई रोशनी दे, नई सामर्थ्य दे। और मेरी कोशिश रही है कि पीएमओ ये सेवा का अधिष्ठान होना चाहिए।
We promise we'll not keep you waiting. We'll flash those pictures from the cabinet meet in just a bit. But there are other aspects that have to be spoken of. Will the new NDA government under Prime Minister Modi achieve its dream of Viksit Bharat smoothly, or will there be challenges or hurdles in its path? Let's decode some of the challenges that this coalition government may face. Taking allies along on contentious issues like UCC and Agnipath, for example, is going to be a challenge in itself, especially given how parties like the JDU, remember, have shown interest in reviewing the Agniveer scheme. The BJP will need to balance its agenda with coalition partners. Expectations on these two issues, remember, are going to be there from the allies. So how the BJP deals with it is also going to be interesting. With a strengthened opposition in Lok Sabha, passing legislations also could be a little difficult than before. The government may face several uh, criticism, a lot of criticism from the opposition ranks, making it difficult to push through bills without debate. And that's what the opposition, remember, has been rejoicing as well. Now, remember how there are several reports internally that point out how the hearts of BJP and RSS cadre have soared in the recent past, especially in states like Uttar Pradesh, and especially given the mandate that's come in from UP. So maintaining cohesion will be on top of BJP's mind to ensure that the internal dynamics don't dent the party. Talking about Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, that's also going to be key. Because the results of some of the assembly elections going forward are going to be interesting, and that's going to be an indicator on how the Modi government is performing and the right approach to deal with the coalition, to talk about the allies that have significantly contributed to the coming together of this government. That's also something that's going to be very, very interesting. Adopting to new realities, taking the right approach to deal with coalition partners will be crucial for Prime Minister's ability to readjust and also lead effectively. Which brings us to the big question this evening. What does Modi 3.0 mean for this country? With the Kisan Nidhi announced already, has the NDA government started on the right note? Is this the right beginning for NDA for the third tenure of Prime Minister Modi?
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं राजनाथ ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं विधि द्वारा सच्ची श्रद्धा और
We came with the idea that we want to make AP #1 state in the country, and we want complete cooperation from the government of India, and it has been promised by Modi.
प्रधानमंत्री का विशेषाधिकार है, जो मंत्री पद देंगे उसको धारण करेंगे।
Let's quickly, on that note, open this up with our political experts joining us this evening. We have Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson of the Congress, with us, along with a senior fellow IPCS, Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Also with us, a senior journalist, Sanjeev Srivastav. Radhika Khera of the BJP will be joining us in just a bit. My first question is to Abhijit, though. We're keeping up with these visuals coming in from 7 Lok Kalyan Marg of the first cabinet meeting of NDA of Modi 3.0. Visually very powerful, Abhijit. You know, what do you make of this? How solid does Modi 3.0 look to you?
Thanks. Look, it looks really solid, and I'll tell you why. Everything since he got elected, Modi's just been portraying power, power, and more power. There's no sense of, amongst the supporters, there was a great sense of defeat or shok cha gaya tha kind of attitude. And you don't see that in the cabinet, right? From what I've been hearing, Modi's first speech, this was, not these visuals that you're showing today, but before the oath-taking ceremony is, that he apparently asked everybody to prepare for breakneck reforms coming through. You look at his own record in Gujarat. There were the 3 terms as chief minister. The first had almost no reforms. The second had lots of reforms. The third was breakneck galloping reforms. I think Modi performs best when he's under pressure. Okay. I think a government like this, which is said to be precarious, I don't think it's precarious, but it's said to be precarious, with heaps of fire from the opposition, is when Modi will perform to his hilt.
Okay, he performs best under pressure, is what Abhijit thinks. Pooja, what about you? How would you look at these visuals coming in? Everybody's really waiting for the big names, the list that is expected shortly of who's going to make it to which ministry. But as we await in anticipation on what's going to happen on that front, what do you make of these visuals? The cabinet at large, the kind of distribution that we've seen, many call it a sign of continuity and also diversity. And performers...
yesterday, and 9 people, 3 have been injured, and then there not has been a word of condemnation from our Prime Minister Modi ji. And while he, answers to Prime Minister of Pakistan, extends his wishes, And that's where 27 lakh people, NEET aspirants are on the street demanding a re-examination, and NTA is not giving any satisfactory answer. We look at the whatever you call it, Modi 3.0, we would like to call it NDA 3.0. There's a JDO which is asking for Agnipath scheme to be revamped. There's a speaker post which is up for grabs, and TDP and BJP are fighting up for it. We have the TDP manifesto which not only promises the 4% reservation, securing the 4% reservation, it promises a stipend for Maulana, it promises various kinds of reservation schemes for Muslims. I don't know what Bharatiya Janata Party would be taking care of. Okay. And now today, there has been serious allegations on Bharatiya Janata Party IT cell chief, and Bharatiya Janata Party as a party should come out and give clarifications on that, because it's not somebody, there's somebody from the ranks, between the ranks, somebody from RSS has put out this grave allegations of sexual misconduct against their IT cell chief, and there has been no word from anybody. And because we don't have a WCD minister yet, I expect the Bharatiya Janata Party to take a disciplinary action, because that it has come from inside.
Okay, all right. You've spoken of a host of issues, Pooja. I did want you to comment a little bit about, the decisions that have been taken already on day one, and, for example, the 100-day plan, so on and so forth. But I'll perhaps put that out to Sanjeev Srivastava in just a bit. But before that, Radhika, you just heard Pooja say that there's a lot that needs to be addressed still. She's talking about a possible tussle between the Bharatiya Janata Party and the TDP for the speaker's post, saying there are those who are quite unhappy with the manner in which, the decision on cabinet berths and cabinet ranks have been taken. So all of that is something that the BJP is trying to fight hard on, and that's why perhaps the announcement on portfolios on the ministries is taking so long.
Namaskar to everyone. First of all, the Indian National Congress, they're calling it the NDA 3.0. See, this is where they start going wrong. How can they technically also call it the NDA 3.0? Because this is the first NDA government. Earlier two governments were completely by the BJP government, but we had coalition partners along. So here, that's where the starting is only galat. So, madam, let me again remind you that this is Modi 3.0, because Modi ji again is the Prime Minister. The new government, the Modi NDA government, exemplifies powerful and visionary leadership. And it is a resounding mandate. I will repeat myself. It is a resounding mandate for a third term for Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And because the Bharatiya Janata Party got over about 240 votes, which again is much more than the entire votes of the India Alliance put together. Now, having said that, when we talk about that the questions coming in that abhi tak the portfolios haven't been given, what is the hurry? Why is the Indian National Congress in a hurry for everything? They should hold their own house together.
Perhaps the expectation was set on the 2019 formula, Radhika. That's why everybody was waiting for it since late last night. Yeah.
Absolutely. See, every government is different. The 2014 government was different. 2019 government is different. 2024 will obviously be different. And our next government after this will also be different. Every time with the change in power, with the change in surroundings and the issues, there will be a change. Now, this government is going to go from economic reforms to infrastructure development to the robust policies and decisive actions that, for transforming India on multiple fronts. Now, the Indian National Congress needs to hold their horses. And the spokesperson here was talking about harassment, women harassment, about claims that a certain person has made on our IT cell chief. Well, remind you, I left the party and I made a complaint on women harassment, and no one in the party had the guts, and I speak again with complete honesty and just like कहते हैं ना कि बिल्कुल when I complained, I'm a living example sitting here, when I complained about harassment, I was locked up in the Congress office in Chhattisgarh. Not one person had the spine, and the same Supriya Shinit who's doing a press conference today had the spine to come up and speak for me. And the spokesperson sitting here. So please, first mend your own house, then come and put blame on others. Every time a woman has complained in the Congress office, she has either been forced to leave the party or an action has been taken against her. And she has been suspended or thrown out from the party. Okay. So first, mend your own house. And also, I would like to leave a message to the Indian National Congress and the India Alliance. Keep your own house together. The Aam Aadmi Party has already left. BD is already showing eyes. The RJD and the Bihar Congress are already fighting and blaming each other. Is your house going to be together that you keep your eyes focused on us? manage your own house and then look at our alliance.
Okay, Radhika, you've been extremely vocal about the issues you faced within the party, and you're once again putting that out to Pooja. But like I said, I want to perhaps let this settle for a while, give you both a little time before I come back to you and go across to Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava. Mr. Srivastava, I was asking about the two important decisions made on day one. One is, of course, the details that we broke of the Kisan Nidhi, you know, the 17th installment that's been announced by the Prime Minister. That's the first file signed by him on day one after he was sworn in yesterday as the PM for a third consecutive term. And of course, next is also housing for all. That's also another decision that's been taken on day one itself. We're learning of a draft that's already been signed, taking that aspect forward. How do you see this government already acting up on things that it said it promises to the people over the next 5 years, and not to forget the kind of 100-day plan that the Prime Minister has already conveyed to his Council of Ministers, and this was over the Chai Pe Charcha, the tea program, not even today in the cabinet meeting.
I think they are welcome signs, and frankly, what else did you expect? Did anyone expect that after taking oath yesterday evening, today would be a day where there will be no decision or the Prime Minister will not do anything? I am sincerely saying it's a good decision. Farmers have been on their agenda, so have been youth, women, and the 4 pillars they have been talking about. So it's a great decision and something we already knew will happen. And the Prime Minister is also, in the same breath, I would like to say, is a great one for optics. So both that signing of the file as well as his address to the PMO, which was supposed to be the fountainhead of all power from 2014 to 24, suddenly today he has said he wants it to be the people's PMO. And in his address to the bureaucrats and officers of the PMO, he also said something to the effect that not all power has to flow from here, it has to work like a catalyst, which is completely in contrast to the perception one had from 14 to 24, that the PMO directs all ministries as to how to go forward, gives instructions. There is a very close follow-up, which was nothing wrong with that. But this message which the Prime Minister is trying to send is one of decentralization, which is again a welcome thing. Because the challenge before this government is,
never before have we seen a Prime Minister, for example, credit his office, the PMO, the manner in which the Prime Minister did. So whether it works out for him or not is secondary. But the fact that he's come out to say that you've done a great job and there's lots more that needs to be done, how is it not a welcome move?
No, it is a welcome move. I am saying just it's a change of stance. Okay. That he's saying it's people's PMO, and that he's talking, again, the thing about is that he is somewhere addressing the concerns or admitting the reality that it is a coalition government. It's not 2014 to 2024 type of a setup. This government will require a lot of give and take, lot of taking along of the allies. And if the Prime Minister is able to do that, and why shouldn't he be able to do that, though he has never done that from 2002 to 24, but if he adapts himself to the new circumstances, I don't see with 240 MPs, there should be a great problem. But the BJP will have to learn to give in to the allies. They will have to concede important posts. It cannot be just like we will keep all the plums and the greater, but more so far, powerful post. Speaker is a very powerful post.
Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, nobody staged a contention on that so far. In fact, they've very conveniently settled for a 1+1, talking about the contribution that TDP and JDU, for example, have made, and they've been quite okay with the fact that they have 1 cabinet berth and 1 MOS berth, and they're quite convinced. So optics at least don't suggest that they're not okay with it.
Both Naidu and Nitish Kumar are equal, if not more experienced and seasoned in politics.
Okay.
So just hold your horses.
Okay.
जिसको हिंदी में बोलते हैं उनके खाने के दांत और दिखाने के और हो सकते हैं. I don't know whether it will happen like that. But just don't go by the optics of the allies as well.
Flip-flops
there may be very hard bargaining happening in private.
May just be repeated. Abhijit, do you think the Prime Minister will have to be wary of the kind of alliance that the NDA sees this time around, especially given the manner in which both TDP and the JDU have been very firm on their demands, and at times that's also led to them parting ways with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So that may just be a trouble in the making, not as yet, but in the future one can't rule that out. And like Mr. Srivastava is saying, that the BJP will have to take the allies together.
See, they'll have to take the allies together if the allies decide to come together. You see, individually, with 296, each one of them, TDP or Nitish, just don't have the numbers to pull the government down. So if they want to be taken together, that is the only time they can actually threaten the government.
Okay.
And I think Modi is a past master at playing divide and rule even with this. So, you know, I'm not entirely convinced by this argument that Modi is hamstrung in any way. The numbers don't support it at any rate.
Okay, all right. Pooja, would you want to quickly comment on that and give us an opposition view?
Very quickly.
Okay, before Pooja, Sanjeev ji.
Very quick, one sentence, if you don't mind. Such a kind of a warning red flag with Abhijit has just given out that Modi is a master of divide and rule. That is why the TDP will not concede the speaker's post to BJP. Nobody wants their parties to be broken and the speaker to be giving a ruling which is favorable to BJP. So the allies are likely to insist on
And do you think that's why they've so conveniently settled with the 1+1 so far? That they're going to bargain for a speaker's post and bargain hard?
Madam, the government is only 4 days old or 5 days old. It may all be very smooth, it may all be very turbulent. I am not a soothsayer. But it's very early days to decide either way. Okay. The allies can bare their teeth, the allies may choose not to. Mr. Modi may well take everybody along, he may decide to be recalcitrant. So we'll have, it's a developing situation. Okay,
developing situation, it can go either way. And that's what one's braced for. One's really wanting to wait and watch and see how, you know, the coming together of this kind of a government is going to play out. And how efficient is this government going to be really? And like was said by, you know, all of you, this is a new challenge for the Prime Minister. Challenge in the sense that he's not been acquainted to this sort of a setup. We've seen since 2001, up until now, the Prime Minister has always been at the helm of a majority government. So that, Radhika, is going to be a challenge, whatever one may say. However, you know, we do see Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu seated right next to him as far as, you know, these host of meetings are concerned, and everybody sending out those positive gestures. But the fact of the matter is, this is new territory for the Prime Minister.
Absolutely, and it was new territory for Shri Narendra Modi ji when he became the Chief Minister of Gujarat, but he managed it extremely well. He's been the longest serving Chief Minister of Gujarat and of the country. So every time he's been faced with challenges, he's come out with flying colors. Then everybody said that, oh, he will not be, and it was a new territory when he became the Prime Minister for the first time in 2014. And people questioned him that he will not be able to manage things on the international front. He will not be able to run a country well. He led 2 successful governments back to back. And mind you, he is the only Prime Minister after Shri Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji who's been sworn in for the 3rd term. So he has come out with flying colors each time. And you know, as much as the opposition and the India Alliance and their supporters want to say, कि भाई Nitish Babu तो भाग जाएंगे and Naidu Babu भी भाग जाएंगे, please let me remind them that they gave their support in, you know, you have to go by a person's words. And let me remind you of Naidu ji's words. I'm in politics for 40 years. I have seen many leaders. I give the entire credit to Modi ji for making India proud globally. That is his biggest achievement for the country. And he has made India the 5th largest economy in the world. Also, this is the proud... Sir, I did not interrupt. I request you to kindly listen to what I'm saying.
No,
this is the proudest moment of my life.
But go ahead. He wasn't interrupting.
Yeah, this is the proudest moment of my life. That is also what he said. And he also said that NTR said, I know only humanism, and that vision only Modi ji has. And I thank you for that.
All's well.
The
picture looks extremely positive. Radhika, everybody seated next to one another and everybody is all smiles as far as this cabinet meet is concerned. But again, the big question one is watching out for really is who gets what, because that's going to be decisive in how this government moves forward. Pooja, you know, to quickly come to you, a lot of things were being said by the opposition right after the mandate, the big 2024 verdict, isn't it? That the BJP is not going to be able to flex its muscles. It's time for the opposition. The opposition is going to have a huge say. One is, of course, the opposition didn't turn up for the oath-taking ceremony. And the opposition has always said that, you know, here's a government that doesn't really give in to what the opposition wants, doesn't listen to the people of the country. Democracy has been in danger. under Modi 2.0. And now that we see a coalition coming together, we've seen the same approach from the Congress party. A, that. B, much was being said about how, you know, the BJP is going to have to give up. And that's what Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava also said. They'll have to make way for the others. But the 85%, as far as the cabinet berth allocation is concerned, doesn't quite suggest the same. Everybody is okay with the BJP having the lion's share.
So we have to look at what we are looking at in the front. You know, there must be a lot of closed door. This is a Nitish dependent or a Naidu dependent alliance, and I'm sure they are very seasoned politicians to not take 1+1 cabinet portfolios. We have seen Mr. Naidu backed out of NDA in 2018 on the demand of special status. We have seen Nitish ji flipping from NDA once or maybe twice, if my memory serves me right. Just now Radhika ji was mentioning Naidu ji's words. In 2019, he said that Modi Shah should not be trusted, and it's people who are the power and they will show them their place. So when we are saying from 400 par to 300 par, then you have been reduced to 240. Narendra Modi ji has run a successful majority government, no doubts on that. But now he has to learn that governments are run by debate, discussion, consensus, coordination, and this is how govern. He cannot come one day and announce a demonetization. There must be a lot of that must be going on the backdoor settlements. And the day they pull out of the government, they have done it in the past. 2018, Naidu has pulled out. Nitish cannot be trusted for not pulling out of the governments and the alliances.
Okay, so last 30 seconds to Abhijit. I need to head into a very quick break. Abhijit, should the BJP be wary of the flip-flops?
Not very. They just need to be careful about their ally management. That's about it.
Okay, just be careful about the allies management. You will have to give in somewhere, you will have to give up somewhere, and that's how it's going to go on for the next 5 years. There are those who come out to say it's not going to be 5 years, it's just going to end at 1 or 2 years. So whether or not we're going to see that picture emerge also remains to be seen. But many thanks to all of you for joining us and holding this discussion. All eyes really on 7 Lok Kalyan Marg.